Ahab of Israel. Jezebel came from a culture that worshipped Baal, a Canaanite god. When she got married to Ahab, she brought in her religion and her customs with her, which clashed heavily with Israel's worship of Yahweh. Now, Jezebel was a foreign queen with her own beliefs. She refused to abandon her own God just to please her husband's people. She was politically strong, outspoken, and not submissive, and these were attributes that the ancient societies back then hated in women. So in the Bible, Jezebel became a symbol of idolatry, corruption, and defiance against God. God here as in the God of Israel. Now, scholars believe that the books of Kings were written by a group of Israelite theologians and historians, often called the Deuteronomists. Jezebel's story was written by Israelite religious perspective, the same people she opposed. And this makes the account of Jezebel's story one-sided because it was not written from neutral historical reporting. So from the Israelite religious perspective, Jezebel was a promoter of Baal's worship. She was also a prosecutor of God's prophets, and she was a manipulator. Now let's examine David. David committed adultery with Bathsheba. He arranged for her husband Uriah to be killed in battle to cover it up. He also counted Israelite population in pride, and according to the story, it led to the death of thousands of people by plague. Yet, he was called a man after God's own heart. Remember that this story was also written from Israelite religious perspective. So while David is celebrated as a man after God's own heart, Jezebel, on the other hand, is called evil, manipulative, a persecutor, a promoter of Baal's worship. When the story of David is being narrated, they tell us that the reason why David is a man after God's own heart is because he asked for forgiveness, he repented, and he was remorseful. But Jezebel did not. Good. Now bear in mind that this is what the writers chose to include. This is like what Chimamanda said about the danger of a single story. We would never know for sure if Jezebel regretted her actions or even repented because her side of the story was never told. Jezebel and David both used power. They both caused deaths.
This is Deuteronomists that wrote the book of First King, or the book of the Kings. Then it will mean one thing, that the book is all about the judgment and the mercy of God. Yeah. Because it's got it from the word Deuteronomy, which means second law. That means God giving the judgment to the new set of generation. If you look at Hebrews chapter 3 verse 15, it says that, as just been said today, if you hear my voice, do not harden your heart as you did in the rebellion. Who were they who had and rebelled? Were they not all those Moses led out of Egypt? And with whom was he angry for 40 years? Was he not with these who sinned, whose bodies perished in the wilderness? So these things are written to the new generation who were not the first generation, because the first generation, God destroyed the first generation, because of the sin. Now, that means what she's talking about is about the judgment and the mercy of God. Yes, God had mercy on David, and God had a judgment on Jezebel. Look at even Ahab. When Jezebel committed the sin against Ahab, when Jezebel committed the sin against Naboth, yes, God told Ahab that that his blood will leak, that the dog will leak his blood, and his generation will be destroyed. But Ahab repented. He tore his clothes, and God saw that he repented, and God lifted that curse from Ahab, yes, and put it on his own generation. That is the mercy of God. What God just needs is just repentance. Yes, funny thing about it is that Jezebel never repented. Yes, even God, there was even, her death was not even because of she killed the prophet, it was because of she killed Ahab. The judgment of God was not because of she killed the prophet. It was actually because of what she did to Ahab. And funny enough, there was enough time. She died a shameful death. Funny thing, she was full of pride. Even during the time of her death, she used makeup and she bounded her hair. That is pride on her own side. But David was different. When God pronounced death on David, when he killed Uriah, do you know what David repented? Funny enough, God caused David also that son will sleep with his wife. Yes, one of his sons slept with his wives. That his child would die. Yes, his child died. Yes, and his sons were killing each other. So that was God's judgment on David, and it came to pass. Yes, but funny enough is this: God still have mercy of David because David repented. Ahab repented. Who is Jezebel's husband? Yes, God lifted the curse, but Jezebel never repented. See, it's about the judgment and the mercy of God. Seriously, see. God is a God of justice. God will never allow his sin to pass.